Until Temptation Do Us Part by Carter Brown. 1967. Chapter 1. In back of Bald Mountain, about 10 miles out of Pine City and right in the heart of the county sheriff's area of jurisdiction, lies Vista Valley. At one time, it was just a lush green wilderness. But now it's dotted all over with big estates that took a hell of a lot of lush green folding money to build. One of the biggest is the Cutter Estate. I pushed my brand new car along the winding road at a gentle and legal 60 miles an hour while I recalled what I knew about Nicholas Cutter, a developer who had started out with a couple of hundred acres of scrubland and parlayed them into a tight suburban community, complete with two-car garages and a dull split-level existence for the unlucky buyers. Then never looked back. There were people who called him Old Nick and didn't smile when they said it either. My memory tape ran out right there. It wasn't much to know about a guy who had just dragged me out of bed because he'd been inconsiderate enough to get himself murdered in the middle of the night. The house itself stood at least a quarter of a mile back from the bronze gates, which were set in the high brick wall surrounding the whole estate, and was strictly southern in its architecture with huge white ornamental pillars. A second-story balcony ran the whole width of the facade, and light shone from all the tall windows. I parked beside a patrol car, then walked up the wide flight of steps that led to the front door. For a moment there, after thumbing the doorbell, I waited for a young and vital Scarlett O'Cutter to open the door and greet me with a look of breathless expectation on her face, but all I got was Sergeant Polnick. Lieutenant Wheeler? The look on his primitive face said I was the last person he expected to see. Gee, things is real tough. I mean, you getting out of bed to come here and all? Heard the call of duty, I told him. Sheriff Lavers bellowing in my ear like a lovelorn stud bull. I need the work, so I heeded the call. You want to see the body, Lieutenant? No, I said truthfully, but I guess I don't have any choice. I stepped inside the front hall, which looked big enough to house a Kiwanis convention. There was a circular staircase that swept up from one side of the hall like a direct route to outer space. There are still times when I am dazed by the impact of things that money can buy, but just then I felt no pain. The Cutter house wasn't my style at all. What with all that space, a chick could hide away for a week without giving me an even chance of finding her. A compact pad like mine, equipped with a stereo and outsized couch, has very definite advantages. The body's in the library, Polnick reminded me. Library, I muttered. That's the room where the books are? His face shone with modest pride. Gee, I would have figured you'd know that, Lieutenant. I guess it comes from not having an inquiring mind like yours, Sergeant. I admitted humbly. You want to lead the way? Like he said, the library was the room with the books. It was also the room with a corpse in it, sprawled face down across a Persian rug in front of a leather-topped desk. The body was wearing a blue silk robe over matching pajamas, and belonged to a man who had been somewhere in his middle 50s, I guessed. Whoever had killed him had made a real job of it. The back of his head was just red, sticky pulp, with bits of bone and trailing gray matter lodged in the crimson mess. There were great splotches of blood everywhere, and the Persian rug would never be the same again. The murder weapon, a fine sculpted bronze head, lay on the rug beside the body. The base of the statue was now liberally daubed with blood, brain, and matted hair. I looked at Polnick for a quick change of view, and by contrast, his Cromanian face was almost lovable. It's messy, I said in a hollow voice. Yeah, he nodded vigorously. Fancy getting beaten to death with your own head. Huh, Lieutenant? How's that again? I asked carefully. Polnick gestured toward the bronze head, which was about half life-sized. That's the head of Nicholas Cutter, and that, he pointed toward the body, is Nicholas Cutter, right? There was no arguing with irrefutable logic. I'll guess it must have been pure chance the murder used it as a weapon. I shuddered faintly. Nobody could have a sense of humor that macabre. Murder's no joke, Lieutenant. Polnick gave me a nasty look. Like what the hell was I trying to do, laugh us cops out of business or something? You're right, I admitted. Let's take it in sequence, from the beginning. I got the night duty this week, and the call came in about 2:30, so I called the sheriff, and he said for me to get the hell on out here real fast, and he'd take care of the details. Details? I prodded. Sure. You know, like the coroner and the crime lab boys and you. His face reddened abruptly. I don't figure he meant you was just a detail, Lieutenant. It was just that he was real upset and all. I forgive him. Who was it that reported the murder? Mrs. Cutter. She said the maid had found the body about 5 minutes before she called in. At about 2:30 in the morning? I stared at him for a moment. What the hell was the maid doing in the library in the middle of the night? I didn't get to ask her yet, Polnick said simply. I only got here about 10 minutes before you did, Lieutenant, and it took all that time to quiet down Mrs. Cutter. She was having hysterics all over the joint. Where is she now? In the living room, across the hall. So, I'll call a cab. I listened as the sound of a car coming up the driveway grew steadily louder. How about you bringing the rest of them in here when they arrive, while I go talk with the widow? Then take a good look around the house and see if anyone busted in from the outside. Why would they want to do that, Lieutenant? Polnick blinked a couple of times. The front door was wide open when I got here. It's a good question, Sergeant. I mumbled from between clenched teeth. Just do it, huh? A wide grin suddenly cleaved his face almost in half. I get it, Lieutenant. Maybe he's one of them guys who just don't like to do nothing the easy way, right? Right, I said firmly and started for the door at a fast trot. Anything was better than falling into the weird, wonderful, bird-brained world of Sergeant Polnick